It's been a very long time since I've done this, but I'm back, and hopefully it'll stay that way. So, in the past couple months, I haven't really played a ton of Minecraft, but I have played a little bit, and you can probably notice a couple differences in the world that I have built up. And I will show you around. So I built up a couple little trees here, kind of like a little forest. I haven't finished it, I've just kind of been working on it in the background. I built up a tiny little river which I do actually really like. I've been talking about doing this for a long time, but I decided to just get a start on it and just kind of just start it off. And this is going to continue down there to our main river project, which we'll probably do in a couple of episodes. But I figured I would just start it because I just wanted to see how these kind of decorations would look. Followed by that, I built this house. This is a place to house a cactus farm, which we can go in here and you can basically see a whole bunch of cactuses filling up in here. And I don't need all of the cactus, but it will be useful for things like XP. It's useful for things like all the concrete powder I'm using, different things like that. Like even the grass requires a whole bunch of texturing, which is actually kind of crazy, the amount of moss that I've gone through and stuff. But anyway, enough about that. This is another build. This is a sugarcane farm build. Which, to be quite honest, I don't know if I like the look of it. I'll hop into free cam really quick. I don't know if I like the look of it. I feel like the shape is good, but the whole build is just weird. Not a huge fan of it, but I don't really feel like changing it. And we've just got a whole bunch of sugarcane. I think there's more in there. Yeah, so we got a whole bunch of sugarcane coming in here, and if we go down here, we can see the farm. It's probably easier if I show you in free cam, so we'll do that real quick. You can see it's a whole bunch of sugarcane. Took lots of materials, but when we do eventually get an elytra, it will mean that we can basically have a whole bunch of firework rockets, and it's just gonna make things like that a bit easier. I guess you should see the cactus farm as well. It's nothing crazy, it's just a couple different layers. Just 4 layers. Some cactus does get stuck. It's not the most efficient thing in the world. I could pretty easily probably fix it, but you can also probably notice I got some diamond tools. They aren't all perfect, but they are much better than we had a couple episodes ago. I haven't yet made any diamond armor, just because, well, I haven't really died too often, but I haven't really felt the need to make any armor, but we'll probably do that at some point. One thing that has definitely helped me get all these tools and help me do all of that, help me do all the enchanting, is this right here. This is a skeleton spawner XP farm. I haven't decorated it yet, haven't done any of that, but I've spent a little while here. Where is the stuff? I spent a little while here just getting some XP. We've got tons of bones, some heads, lots of bows, not many enchanted bows, quite a lot of good stuff. The spawner is just in here. You can see that's where it is. They go in there. They go up and then they come back down. I'm sure everyone's already seen a skeleton spawner farm, so didn't think that was too interesting to record. I did also go to a trial chamber, and that was all the way back in September, and I did plan on releasing that footage, but I just never got around to it. Here, we do have quite a lot of cobblestone, stone, and different kind of materials because of I had to dig that giant hole for the sugarcane farm, but we don't have that much wood or moss or anything like that, and so that's kind of what I want to focus on. So I went ahead and I chopped down some trees because we're gonna need a little bit of wood for what we're working on today, and we're gonna need it for future projects. I got a bit of dark oak, I got a bit of spruce, got quite a bit of oak, a little bit of acacia, you know, just all kinds of different things. Very glad that I had a diamond efficiency axe for this, because otherwise this would have taken a very long time. We're gonna do a little small peek behind the curtain. We're gonna keep this short, maybe 30 to 40 seconds. This is my creative testing world. I don't do a whole lot of stuff in here, but you know what? I wanted to experiment a little bit before I went in the world. Just planning out what gradients I'm gonna use. We're gonna be using this master stone gradient. I've used it in quite a lot of other builds. We're gonna do that pretty much on the first story of this build, and then we're gonna change it up and do more of a wood, sand kind of approach. We're gonna have a jut out here on the left, And then on the right with this birch, we're actually going to do more of an A-frame like I have over here on my starter house. With that said, I think it's time that we just go ahead and get going. It's literally right behind the camera, so I can't actually show you. I can't exactly turn around, but it's going to be a good build. Let's go. Then I started digging out a large area underneath the house that we constructed, and I started building a farm. Can you guess what farm it is? Yep, that's right, it's a moss farm. You can tell that from the block that's right there. And I actually had to build this thing not once, but twice, because I messed it up the first time. I don't know what was wrong, but it just wouldn't work. So I rebuilt it. I followed a tutorial, I'll leave it in the description. It isn't the best moss farm by any means, but it's a farm that was pretty easy for me to build. I can understand how it works, and while it may not generate as much as a lot of the other farms, I'm alright with it because I don't need a ton of moss. I just would like to have one for a little bit, just to leave it on in the background. Alright, and I just wrapped up finishing off that moss farm and the build, and let's take a look at how it looks. Okay. Alright, it's not like my favorite building. I'm much happier with these two buildings. I still don't like that one. I think I'm gonna remove the diorite and just put the green stuff there. And I also think I'm probably going to change up the roof. Because I think what's kind of throwing me off here is that it's all just like the same kind of blocks. Like this birch is very similar to the roof color. Also, this back here, these like chains and fences, they don't make any sense. That's throwing me off. But we gotta work on the interior for this. So yeah, so that's how it looks, a little bit closer up. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. Definitely could have done a lot worse. So yeah, we're gonna work on this interior in just a second. The moss farm is just down here though. And we actually do almost, I think, have enough space to build like a second one if we really did need that much moss. But I don't think we do. It's very simple. It kind of just, if we hop into free cam, there's just some stone generators. They generate, they push the stone basically, and then that causes it to break the moss, and then it will bone meal, and then the water will come and sweep it away. Yep, just like that. I can, if I did want to make it a bit quicker, I think I can change up the repeater speeds and stuff. It's doing fine. I use moss quite a bit in my builds if we just go outside. But as I said earlier, I use moss in pretty much all of my builds, including the texturing. Okay, yep, even moss there and moss there. Yeah, I think I've used moss in, okay, not over there, but I've used it in almost all my builds. So it is something I use often. And let me show you how I've been getting it this whole time. I just kind of go a little bit crazy, you know? Yeah, yeah, so it's kind of a good thing that we now have a moss farm. But now let's do the interior. Alright, and I did happen to forget to record, so I just ended up going simple with the interior, adding a little bit of moss just to, you know, highlight that underneath this build is in fact a moss farm. But yeah, pretty simple. I think maybe we move some villagers in here at some point and this would be a cool little house. Now, there's one final project I want to work on, and it's something that I showed you earlier. That is this little spawner down here. Now, the spawner, for one, the exterior looks ugly and the interior looks ugly, and I don't really have any proper storage. So we're gonna need to fix that. Alright, and this is what I have come up with. This is, again, if I remind you, this is just in this little valley, and I just decided to just kind of terraform the outside, make it look a little bit overgrown, and all sorts of stuff. And we are probably going to keep on terraforming under here and all of that, because One cool project that I have in mind is to make all of this kind of area, we're going to terraform underneath it and build a river on top of it, which this river, this small little river, will flow into. And so this will be underneath it, like an underground, underwater kind of civilization. That's project is obviously very, very far away, but you know what? It's good to kind of just start on it. We have a lot of little projects, so it's kind of cool to just, make a couple little starts on things. But yeah, not done. You can see, obviously, a lot of it's untextured, but you can see what we're going for. And inside this little thing here, this little build here, is our skeleton spawner. In here, we've got our bows, arrows, bones, and that's actually looms. So I can't open that. I'll replace that with slabs. But up there, I believe, is just like armor and skeleton heads. We've got more storage there, got a bookshelf there, and in here we can kill our skeletons, and the storage goes in there. So yeah, looking pretty cool. We can just place some grass in here, make it look a little bit overgrown. Yeah, I'm really liking how that turns out. So yeah, so today we built up our skeleton spawner, chopped a whole bunch of wood over there, built up this little house over here, or should I say big house, with a moss farm inside, and showed off some stuff that I've done off camera. So if you did enjoy, then make sure to check out my other episodes to remind you of what the series is like. If you did enjoy, subscribe, so you'll catch the next one, and goodbye. But it isn't really goodbye, because I have just a few more clips to show you of things that happened that I never really got around to uploading in full videos. So as I touched on all these projects earlier, such as this is the sugarcane farm, these are just like little time lapses that I had recorded that I had originally planned on making into videos, but I just never really got around to them. But you know what, I just figured I'd include some of the time lapses just so you can kind of see them in like better view, and so it kind of like proves I actually did the work and I wasn't in creative mode. This is the cactus farm. I think I already showed this earlier, but it's like 8 layers or so. This is the exterior of the cacti farm, kind of just my building process and things like that. Thought it'd be kind of cool to put all this together and just put it at the end of the video. And then finally, this is the cacti farm exterior. It's nothing too crazy. Used a couple of different blocks on this one, mostly just some like jungle kind of themes with some desert tones. But again, if you did enjoy, then subscribe for more content. Hopefully I'll get more out, and goodbye.